I always promise to just keep it 100 with you guys. All right, let's switch screens up here. Do you remember going over this story? What the hell was this dude's name? This was some American kid that went over to Japan, and he was super disrespectful to the Japanese, the entire culture. He walked into a construction zone, made fun of the Japanese, like just completely rained all hell out of them just to get the clicks and the views. You remember this kid? What was his name? Johnny something or other? I can't remember what this dude's name is, but I want to see what happens to this kid. And I felt like this video would do it. He's in prison for a long time is the title, is the thumbnail. Okay, thank God. This is the worst. This is just the worst. Let's get into this.
They're making an example out of this. This is never getting out, bro. They told me to take his clothes.
That's the friend who was filming the IRL streamer that ruined his life in Japan by disrespecting the culture for attention on the internet. This streamer spent roughly 1 month testing the limits of Japan for content until he was scared out of Japan and fled for a month. But then his views went downhill massively, and clearly he was desperate to get his numbers back up. So he made the dumbest decision of his life and returned to Japan with the friend that we just saw. And that friend becomes very relevant in today's story, because once they arrived in Japan, they went right back to testing the limits of the Japanese social norms and law. And unfortunately for them, because of how disrespectful they were, the police were building a massive case against them. And because they live streamed every single crime they committed, that made it very easy for police to compile everything.
So like this kid was stupid on a level that this has never been recorded in the history of humanity, man. You know, like this kid was merely doing everything for the views and the attention. This kid was completely trapped in the internet. This kid literally was not in reality. He was so involved in the internet, in the verse, man. He could not pull himself out and realize that reality is going to bitch slap you. Like, that's how crazy this kid was. He was lost. Where was this kid's parents at? Where was this kid's parents? I'm sorry to sound like a boomer, like an old dude, but like, dude, if I was this dude's dad, I would be just, there would be some serious consequences. And that's an understatement.
Against them. So both of these guys ended up getting arrested. Johnny's now facing years in a prison work camp where he has to potentially work to pay off the victims affected by his actions. And his friend was facing a similar but weaker sentence until suddenly he's out of jail. But he's still in Japan and live streaming, and he believes his friend is going to spend a long time behind bars, which raises a lot of questions, because one would think if he's out of jail, wouldn't he be thrown out of Japan? Unless maybe he's testifying against his friend in the upcoming court case. Who knows, though? That's all speculation. But this is how he opens up the first live stream about the situation Johnny and him got into after being released from jail.
Let's just say it's not good.
He then says his side of the story.
Okay, so here's what happened. The police called me. They had my phone number somehow. And they're like, yo, we need you to come down to the station for questioning. I'm like, okay, chat, I should be fine, right? They only want me for questioning. They're not going to arrest me, right? Me being a dumbass. I said, okay, so let me go ahead to the station. And that's when y'all had seen me start up my stream. I started up my stream and I went outside and I was finna head to the station. Yes, I went like a dumb. I should have, bro, my mom, I don't even want to say this on live because the police might be watching.
Dude, the police are watching. This is still an active investigation. The trial hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, so they called me up. I went out the hotel. And I started walking towards the police station. There's 3 waiting outside. They're not in police outfit. They're in like normal outfits.
And then we had the clip that we covered in my last video on the situation of him being arrested. But then he gives us some information about Johnny.
It's no joke, bro. I can't imagine what Johnny Somali is going through right now. I can't imagine.
Johnny Somali, that's the dude.
I'm trying to tell you. Oh my God, bro. But I can't imagine what he's
I hope it's like the old. Remember the old Shogun series? By the way, they're coming out with a new Shogun. I cannot wait for that. But the old Shogun series, man, back in the day, the way the Japanese culture dealt with people who did bad things, where they put them in giant pots of steaming water that was slightly less than boiling, and they kept them in there for like a week or two, so that their insides literally cooked, but they were still alive. That's a wonderful form of torture. Like Johnny Somali did everything in his power to completely disrespect the entire Japanese base. I mean, like he went over there and put so many people down. Some of the things he said were so heinous, bringing up like Nagasaki and Hiroshima and saying some really heinous things about World War II and the bombs that were dropped on them, and just laughing in people's faces. Literally, the gall, man. The audacity of this kid was ridiculous. Like, I didn't even know this story was out there. And then when, what was it, like 2 months ago? 2 months ago, everyone, that I first was aware of this. And I think I talked about this for like an hour. I was so outraged. This kid, like, so stupid, not even living in reality. The kid doesn't even understand what reality is, man.
Stuck in there for so long.
Johnny successfully played himself. He made an entire country hate him while broadcasting himself committing crimes over and over again in this country while saying nothing's gonna happen. Dude,
yes, Mad Style,
of course they're gonna throw the book at you. The dude literally asked for it, and here we are.
I'm gonna be real with y'all. Every night I'm thinking in the back of my mind, I'm like, bro, these Japanese trying to teach us a lesson. These trying to put us away for life. These is not trying to let us go.
When you realize your actions actually have consequences. But then he explains how prison's like there.
As y'all know, in the Japanese system, they have investigators coming every single day investigating you for, I think it was around 5.
What's the size of a Japanese prison cell, man? Do you know, like, their hotel rooms are so goddamn small? Like, everything is built so freaking small in Japan, man. Like, it's all very modular. Like, their spacious rooms in their houses are small. Like, I couldn't even imagine being in a prison cell. What are their prison cell sizes and dimensions, man? I would get so claustrophobic. Like, that in itself, I'd go crazy in a Japanese prison. I believe that this is probably like 4x6 or some shit. With like a small bed that comes out and a little toilet on the size, the size of like a mug or something, like pops out of the wall or something, man. Like, I couldn't deal with that. I couldn't deal with it. I would literally bang my head up in the wall until I was over with, man. That would be insane. I have no idea what the Japanese prisons are like.
5-ish to 8-ish hours a day. You get investigated every single day. So y'all can understand how you're getting investigated every single day. You're sleeping on a little thin tatami mat. The tatami mat is probably this thick. You're eating.
Dude, you probably got the Yakuza
boxes.
Fingers is like, do Japanese prisons have gangs and some guy with face tattoos? Listen, they got they got Yakuza, man. I mean, like, that's a whole nother level. I'd rather be in an American prison than a Japanese prison with some Yakuza around me. Holy shit. Get me out of there. Get me out.
I mean, a little bit of y'all know, somebody probably knows what a bento box is. What a bento box is something like this. It's like a box, it's a food, and it's cold food. It's cold little portion of food built for Asian. Americans don't get full off that.
So the question...
Wait. Did he just say food built for Asians? What is wrong with this kid, man? His friend is just as stupid as Johnny. Like, what? Like, food built for Asians? What? Somebody get this kid to school, man.
They should be asking themselves is, was all of this worth the views and attention? But he's still in complete denial.
We're going to see what we could have did differently here.
How about
I know, Wazzy,
you don't
it's
trespass?
Hard, it's hard.
It's not rocket science.
Just
Well, let's see the case he makes for himself.
This is what we watched. And I went on a tirade. I literally went on a tirade when we watched this. It's on the channel. You guys got to check this out. I completely was going on a tirade and talking about my own experiences on the construction crew. You guys remember this?
I'm just a cameraman.
Put one in chat if you were there that day.
Just said, right? I'm just a cameraman. I didn't do nothing wrong here. I didn't do shit wrong.
Dude, even though you're the cameraman, you're still trespassing.
Let's go,
what kind of excuse is this?
There.
You can't be an accomplice of a crime and get away without repercussions because you are filming? This just goes to show you that in Johnny's case...
And they were super polite with him. I mean, they yelled at him like any construction crew would, but my God, the people over there, like socially, are about the nicest and most tolerant people in the entire world. The Japanese people. I want to learn the Japanese language and eventually want to go over there and just like spend some time in Japan. I'm fascinated with the entire culture. I love Japan, and you know the people took so much like just crap from this kid, man. Like just the ridiculousness coming out of his mouth when he went on this construction crew, man. Like when we watched this video, I was talking about when I worked for a construction crew, and if any dude like that walked on our site, my boss, Bill, my foreman, would pick the dude up and throw him, like literally throw him out. And the dudes in Japan were yelling, you know, but they were a hell of a lot nicer than any crew in America would be. Like, you know, like if this kid tried that in America, he'd be hurt. He'd be hurt.
I didn't do nothing wrong here. I didn't do shit wrong.
Dude, even though you're the cameraman, you're still trespassing. What kind of excuse is this? You can't be an accomplice of a crime and get away with.
First off, I'm applauding Sketch for remembering the conversation about my foreman named Bill who ate onions for lunch, like literal raw onions. Thank you, Sketch, for remembering that point of DG360 history. I love
without repercussions because you are filming. This just goes to show you that in Johnny's case, if you put garbage energy out in the world will surround you with garbage. It really doesn't seem like his friends are his friends.
I never heard
imagine facing like multiple years of a prison work camp and your friends are laughing at you. That's very telling of the people he surrounded himself with.
You just admitted that Johnny is guilty. Johnny's already indicted. I don't think you know already. But if Johnny wasn't indicted, he would already be out of jail right now. So there's a 90% chance that Johnny got indicted for that. And that means he'll be in jail for at least another 2 months. That's
not long enough.
Not funny.
Why is this kid laughing? What kind of friend does that shit, man? This tells you what idiots these two guys are, man. It's like, first off, like that's not a friend. First off, they're two horrible people. They're two horrible people. This kid's like laughing. This is like this makes me feel like shit. You know, we are definitely in for some trouble. Our country, man. Like, I get so worried about America. I feel like it's the Roman Empire, man. I feel like it's the downfall. Like I literally every day I wake up, I'm like, okay, now what's gonna be shitty? Like now what's gonna break apart? Now what stupid political shit am I gonna have to listen to? Why can't we just be humans and dream again and get out of this rut, man? We're just being fed a bunch of clickbait shit and we're falling into this trap. And like, this is what we're producing. Like people that are laughing, like people that go over to another culture and completely diss them over and over again in the worst, most heinous ways, only doing it for clicks. Friends who are shitheads that are laughing and saying it's not funny while laughing. Like, this is what we're producing. This is what we're producing, man. Like, what is going on, man? Like, I'm like having the worst time right now. I'm having the worst time right now.
Oh, and
Wazi's right. I cannot stand watching this. I can't even, you know what? You're right. Wazi, you're absolutely right. I gotta stop. I gotta stop. We're gonna stay positive today on the morning show. We're gonna stay positive.